Welcome, angels and all, and we're up to day 18 of 365 days of podcasts. And doesn't the universe love a joke? I've just spent an hour cycling through the rain, the wind, thunder, lightning, and I get home and it immediately stops, and it's absolutely beautiful out there. So the last few weeks, about the last 6 weeks, we've been talking about aligning with soul, or finding our passion, or finding our bliss, finding our particular purpose for being here. And we've been using all sorts of things like using peace to make our decisions, letting go of autism, OUGHTISM, which is living other people's lives, doing what we think we ought to do rather than what we feel like doing. And we've been using all sorts of techniques, little meditations, to find clarity and make effective decisions. So I'm going to go the other way today and talk about two things that absolutely cloud our clarity. Now, one of them is television and the other is fluoride. And they actually work quite similarly, strangely enough. So we've got nerves in our body and messages go up and down at lightning speed. I don't know how fast they go, hundreds of miles an hour, just boom, boom, boom. Now, if we zero down on each nerve, which looks like each one looks like a string of nerve ending, but it's not. Each one is a series of little pieces of nerve covered in a myelin sheath, and then there's a gap, and then the next piece of nerve, and so on. So each nerve is thousands of pieces and thousands of gaps for each nerve. So when the signal is going through the nerve, through the tissue, that's going through as a chemical message, if you like. It's chemically being transferred from here to here. Then there's the gap. So that has to cross a gap so that the electrical message converts into an electrical message, and then it jumps the gap into the next one, and then it converts into a chemical message, and so on. So it's continually going chemical, electrical, chemical, and at 1,000 miles a second. And so when we are functioning perfectly, there's nothing to stop the speed of the chemical message or the conversion to electrical, and the speed of the electrical, and then conversion to chemical. It's quite a process. It's not that simple. So what happens is that if we watch a lot of television, which is an electronic medium, if you like, what a lot of television does is it stops the conversion from the chemical to the chemical to the electrical message. So the chemicals go zing along, and if we've been watching it on TV, it kind of takes a little extra moment to convert into electrical, and the electrical message takes a fraction longer. And then if we multiply that by the length of every nerve and how many thousands of connections there are for each nerve, it's a lot of slowing down. And you'll notice that people who have been watching a lot of television, maybe they've been staring at it for hours and hours, and they're kind of a little bit zonked out, a little bit, what day is it? Oh, the day starts with Y, but I don't know. If we watch a lot of television, particularly in one session, if you like, or in long periods of watching television, our thinking slows down, simply because the electronics beam, if you like, from the television slows down the conversion from chemical to electrical message. And so our thinking doesn't quite happen. If you're someone who's been watching a lot of television, you ask them a question, it takes a moment for them to come up with an answer sometimes. It's like, what, yeah. It's just, and it's an observable phenomenon. You can see people who have been zonked out on television for long periods, and they're thinking, and if they do it consistently, so if someone watches, I don't know how many hours, let's say 5 hours of television every day, if they become aware of that, they will notice themselves losing clarity in their thinking, and their decision making will be slower and slower and slower. So we've got hundreds of nerves, multiply that by thousands of joint connections that got to go chemical, electrochemical. Each minute change is multiplied by all of those connections. And so our thinking can be significantly slowed down, and our decision making becomes much more cloudy, much more obscured, because the whole system is being interrupted by this electrical force, if you like, from television, interrupting our electrical system within ourselves. So that's the electrical side of it. The other side of it is fluoride. I mean, they found at the end of the Second World War, the Americans, when they went to Russia, for example, they found that what the Russians had done is they had fed their prisoners of war huge amounts of fluoride in the water. And the prisoners had become very dumbed down and could not make decisions. So when they released the prisoners from the Russian prison camps, prisoners were really dumbed down and they couldn't make their own decisions. They'd been dumbed down by the fluoride. It does this, and we can't make decisions, and we can't stand up to authority. We can't think for ourselves. We're not self-sustaining. We need others to do the thinking for us if we've had a lot of fluoride. And the reason is we have these nerves, exactly the same as I had said before, and what fluoride does, it interrupts the chemical movement, the chemical message along the nerves, the nerve cells, before it gets to a gap, and then it interrupts the next one. So fluoride, being a chemical, it interrupts the nerve messages. And if we have a lot of fluoride, which we do have from birth all the way through, most of us seem to have fluoridated water. So we're drinking it, we're showering in it, we're washing in it, we're washing our hands in it, we're cooking in it, we're ingesting it in every which way we can. And so over, 20 years, 50 years, 70 years, there's a lot of fluoride going in, and that's affecting every single message that goes through every single cell, because it interrupts the chemical movement of the message, every single message, before it gets to the electrical, and then interrupts the next chemical one, then the next. So if we drink a lot of fluoride and watch a lot of television, do not be surprised if you find it hard to make decisions. If your thinking is sometimes it's just trying to think of something and it won't come to you. And this is not just an old people's thing. People in their 30s and 40s and 50s are finding this. They're trying to think of something and it doesn't, I can't. What is it? Well, I don't know what. And also, if they can't decide what to do. And it's quite similar to when I had PTSD I was diagnosed with it in 2014. And I lost the ability to make decisions. So my wife got really frustrated, and understandably she did, because she'd say, what do you want to do this weekend? And I go, I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want for dinner? Whatever. What do you want to do? I don't know. I lost the ability to think for myself. And I don't know if it was part of the PTSD or if it's separate from the fluoride or it's separate from the television. I don't watch that much TV, and I got a water purifier. So there might have been something else going on, but it's the same kind of result, that we're trying to think of, like, what do I want to do? Do I want carrots or turnips, or do I want an ice cream or I don't know. What else? What's the alternative? Or do I want to go to this movie or that movie? Do I want to buy this house or that house? Do I want this car or that car? Do I want to get married or not married? Do I want to get married to that person or that person? There's 100 things that we're constantly making decisions about. Do I get up now or do I lie in for another half hour? Do I go to bed now or do I go to bed half an hour later? There's 1,000 decisions we make every day. And if we're constantly slowing those decisions down with fluoride and television, then we may not notice it because we're with ourselves every second of our lives. But other people might notice our slowing down of decision making, and it may have nothing to do with age, Alzheimer's and all that. So just bear in mind that if you start to sort of monitor yourself and think, how quickly did I make decisions a year ago, 10 years ago? Or you can ask your friends, is my decision making slowing down? And it may be a chemical thing. And fluoride's not the only chemical that affects the chemical movement of messages through the nerves. And television is not the only one. But those two have been absolutely proved in thousands of experiments. So it's just something to think about, something to monitor. And if we could start reducing the fluoride, reducing our television intake, and maybe, I don't know, perhaps computers do the same thing. And microwaves apparently do the same thing. And if you drive an electric car, you're actually driving a microwave, which is about 1,000 times stronger than the one in your kitchen. So they will be affecting the nerve, the electrical in our nerve system. So all of the things that are around us were given to us as a convenience or something positive. Have another think. They may not be that positive. So I leave you with those two little thoughts, and I'm sure there's others that come along with those two, but just two things to think about: fluoride and television. If you're watching TV, just have a break every now and then. Get up and, I don't know, have a drink of water, unfluoridated water, when the ads are on. Just move the body and just break up your television watching and maybe get a water filter or find some way. I know there's a friend of mine in New Zealand. What he did was he got an amethyst crystal, purple, and he put it on he put quite a big one. He tied it to the water pipe where the water came into his house. He's just got it taped to his pipe. So the water passes through the pipe, obviously, but the energy of the amethyst apparently reduces any effect of fluoride and chlorine and all the other toxins that are in our council water. So there's just another idea. So that for him, it's not just a water filter for drinking, but it's everything. So it's washing his dishes and his clothes and his showers and everything else. So that's an idea, and an amethyst crystal was pretty cheap when we think of our health. So, hello, a few people there, Joy and Karen, and I think it says to bring them on camera, but I don't know how to do that. And anyway, nice to see you there. So think about those two things, your fluoride and television ingestion, and how it could be affecting your ability to have clarity about who you are and the decisions you make in your life. So I bless you, and I wish you a clarity day of amazingness.